Are you one of those people who holds a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders? Or maybe you struggle with tight hips and a stiff back. Whether your goal is to fix your hunched computer posture or increase your flexibility so you don't feel stiff and achy, you might think you need to stretch more and spend a lot of time foam rolling to break up adhesions in your muscles and force them to relax. Unfortunately though, this is a backwards approach and doesn't work, which is why a lot of people end up in my office frustrated by poor posture, pain, and stiffness, whether they've spent years working on their flexibility or they're someone who can barely touch their toes. I'm going to share with you why stretching usually fails to get long-term, lasting results for pain relief and flexibility, and tell you what you actually need to focus on in order to move better and get back to living your life. And yes, these apply whether you do yoga, stretch regularly, or even if you're a full-blown contortionist. I'm Sukie Baxter, founder of Whole Body Revolution, and I help you to rewire yourself for greater health, happiness, and success. In more than 15 years of clinical practice, I've heard one question more than any other. What stretches should I do for knee pain, hip pain, hunched shoulders, back pain, and the list goes on. Unfortunately, as I mentioned in the first video, this is the wrong question. And the reality is that if stretching and posture correction exercises worked, most people wouldn't be in my office in the first place because these are the first things people try, only to find them frustrating and uncomfortable, and they don't get lasting results. Now, to be clear here, I'm not saying that you shouldn't stretch, exercise, or otherwise move your body. We all know that movement is good for you. But there is a missing ingredient in most stretching exercises, and that is understanding the neurology of pain and tension. While a good yoga class can make you feel refreshed after a long day, the reality is that even regular practice doesn't usually yield the kind of bendy poses that you see on the covers of yoga magazines. Why is this? Well, the idea of stretching is often based on the premise that your muscles are physically too short and need to be pulled longer. But this doesn't take into account the root cause of muscle tension, which is your nervous system. Muscles don't get tight on their own. They're not rubber bands. Muscles tense because your brain is sending a signal for them to contract. Now, a lot of people hear this and say, yeah, I hear all that, but it's tight here and I can't consciously make it relax. So the muscle must be all bound up, right? While of course the conscious thinking part of your brain can initiate voluntary movement, most chronic muscle tension that's at the root of pain and stiffness is involuntary and habitual. In fact, research has shown that these habitual muscle contractions are always present, whether you're sitting, standing, walking, or even when you're sleeping. One of the primary functions of the part of your brain that's responsible for balance and coordination is to turn conscious motor habits into unconscious ones. Think how easy it is to pour a glass of water or drive a car while listening to the radio. You barely have to concentrate on these things, but these movement patterns are so complex that they're incredibly difficult for scientists to replicate in a robotics lab. Yet your brain has made them completely automatic. So your body has developed a habit of constant muscle tension in certain areas. This is your pattern. And that tension goes with you wherever you do. Whether you're swimming, riding a bike, dancing, doing yoga, the pattern is there. But here's where it gets crazy. If you were to go under anesthesia, your body would be so floppy that we could wrap your heels around your head and tie you into a pretzel. However, as soon as you wake up and your brain comes back online again, all of your habitual tension returns. All tension, therefore, is consciousness. Physical tension is not separate from mental tension. And I really want you to get this. Without consciousness, you have no tension. There is nothing telling your muscles to contract. You are a floppy noodle. Okay, tight muscles start in your brain. So what can we do about that? Well, I'd like to share with you the 3 tools that help to unlock these habitual patterns of tension in your body. The first one is attention. Putting your attention on your pattern brings awareness to your habitual responses. You start to notice how your body reacts to a certain stimulus or ways of moving that aren't working for you. Just bringing awareness to the issue is a crucial step in beginning the healing process because you can't solve a problem that you don't know you've got. The second tool is intention. Once you've cultivated your ability to pay attention to your patterns, it starts to create space between a stimulus and your reaction. Attention drives a wedge between the trigger and your conditioned response. It's in that space that you're able to formulate a new intention and focus on creating a different outcome. And the third tool is repatterning. As I mentioned in the first video, I'm not opposed to movement and stretching practices. These are a great way to build new neural pathways in your body and your brain. However, movement will ultimately have no effect on building new habits if you're not aware of your habit in the first place. So you need awareness and intention before you can train your body and brain to use new neural pathways. The way that we change our movement patterns is by putting our attention on the sensations that we feel in our bodies. Without this element, you're simply operating out of conditioned habit, even if you're stretching and doing yoga. But when you combine attention and intention with body-based practices designed to interrupt habits and train you to use new, more efficient neural pathways, you can make lasting changes to pain and tension. Over the next few videos, we'll be talking about how your nervous system plays a role in pain and how you can start to rewire it through the magic of neuroplasticity. I'll see you there.